I do want to remind you that tonight's meeting is a workshop, which means we won't be voting on anything other than the agenda, but we will be discussing all of the items that we'll be voting on in our next meeting, which will be on the third Monday of February in this location at this time. So gentlemen, you have a copy of the agenda before you, and if anyone in the public would like to grab one, we have the agendas there on the podium. And since we are called to order and you have the agenda, I will take a motion concerning accepting that agenda or making any changes.
A motion we accept.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion from Councilmember Cromer to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, MJ. Councilmember Hall has seconded that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, our next item is something that's very important, and if it would be okay with you, before I read this, I'd like to take my mask off if y'all are okay with that. I know these masks do sort of hinder communication and understanding, and this is something that's very important to this council, and so I want to make sure that every word in this proclamation is acknowledged and that you can hear everything clearly. As you know, February is Black History Month, and this council felt that it was extremely important that we follow suit with our state government, our national government, and our federal government and recognize Black History Month and the importance of that. And Pete has, Pete, you shared some information. Do you want to talk about that first, or I can read the proclamation? Or
it's just an informational piece.
Okay. Yeah, Pete's handed out some very interesting information. I was reading over it before the council meeting, and some I was not aware of. So you have some really good information about the history of Black history and some of the important reasons that we celebrate. So I want to read this proclamation, and this is for our citizens and for all who will hear these words. Whereas in 1926, Carter G. Woodson led efforts to set aside a special period in February to recognize the heritage and achievement of African Americans, and today, February is nationally recognized as Black History Month. And whereas Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is American history, and each of us were created equal and deserve to be treated with equal dignity. And Black History Month is a great time to reflect on the struggles, the progress, and the accomplishments in equality. And we understand equality efforts must continue to ensure racial injustice and discrimination do not continue to be part of our community's future. Across generations, countless African Americans have demonstrated moral courage and resilience to help shape our nation for the better. And today, many are leading our governments, businesses, and industries toward a much brighter future. And the city of Tifton is proud to honor the history and contributions of Black men and women in our community, our state, and our nation. And we are thankful for the influences made in our community by African Americans and support activities and events for celebrating the many accomplishments. And now, therefore, I, Julie Smith, Mayor of the City of Tifton, and on behalf of this Tifton City Council, do hereby proclaim February 2022 as Black History Month for the City of Tifton. And I encourage all citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and support efforts which promote one Tifton and bring peace and prosperity to all. And I have signed this on the 7th day of February 2022, and also Jessica White, our city clerk, has signed it. So the proclamation is presented to our community on behalf of the City Council. So gentlemen, would you like to follow up with any comments or anything that you'd like to share concerning the proclamation of Black History Month?
Me personally, I just think it's a great day for us with the proclamation, and I want to thank you for it.
Thank you, Lester. It is a great day, and you know, we have made, and Pete will talk about this later on our agenda. We have made a commitment to equity, inclusion, and diversity in this organization, and hats off to Emily, our HR director. It's unfortunate that we may have to make a conscientious effort, but I'm so thankful that we do. And only through the change and the ongoing conversation, some of which can be very difficult, only through the change and the commitment will it become natural, where we don't have to even think about it, but we do it because it's the right thing to do. So, so Jessica, thank you for putting this proclamation together, and again, encourage all of our citizens to participate and to research and to know the contributions. We have so many citizens in this community who have made such a significant difference, and so, so we're just thankful for that. Any other comments or?
And we should learn every day, but we should take February especially.
Yes.
And focus on Black history, because there's lots of things that we just don't know.
Yeah.
And aren't aware of, and unless we research and look, then we will still not know, so.
And I don't know, I'd like to be able to read this proclamation again at our regular meeting on that third Monday of February. I don't know if there are others in the community that we could invite to, to receive the proclamation. I think that would be appropriate, whether it's people within the faith field, or if it's, any industry leaders, neighbors, whoever. So, so with your permission, council, what I'll do is we'll plan to do that again, and then if you have anyone that you would like to bring to the meeting, and then we can present the proclamation to further affirm our commitment to equity, inclusion, and diversity. So I'll throw that out to each of you to think about that. So, okay, thank you. Rob, I'm going to turn everything over to you. We have the alcohol license hearings, so I'll let you move forward with those.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the first alcohol hearing we have is on Speed Go. Just had a second, sir. Jessica, if you would you just give council some background on this case?
At our last meeting, and they had a hearing, and then they came back before you all at our last council meeting. You all decided to approve their renewal, but move forward with the citation for recognizing the underage sales. So that's what we prepared that. They've received that letter, and they're here tonight to answer any questions, to have them continue that discussion, and council make a determination if any revocation is necessary. And the second one would be this is the same one. It's for Pepe's and the Spigo. So Mr. Patel is the owner of the Spigo.
Okay.
Jessica, previously, has this license been suspended by the city?
Yes, in 2020.
And subsequent to that, in 2020, has there been any other offenses for underage sales?
In 2021, they received another underage sale from the state.
And at this point in time, there's been no action relative to any suspension or revocation on the 2021 license offense, is that right?
No, this state just issued a fine, and they paid that fine, and that was how the state handled that issue.
And do you know whether or not there was any criminal offenses against the person that actually sold the alcohol?
Yes, they were charged individually.
Mayor and Council, the reason why this is for you, as you know, there was a previous suspension back in 2020. The state then conducted an investigation. Another violation was found in 2021. As you can see, the state has taken some action against the license. You've renewed the license, and you wanted this matter to be brought forward to you again to determine whether or not the additional violation in 2021 needs some action. So, Mr. Patel,
yes,
if you would, you certainly have the opportunity to address council about what you just heard.
correct.
And then they can consider the matter.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
You can go ahead and speak to council.
Yes, thanks for, good evening, everyone. I was here last meeting also hearing, and this is again. We educated the employees again, focus on that, don't do it again, underage selling beer and tobacco also. So we make sure this never happen again. If it happen again, you have all chances to do your actions against it.
Does anyone from the council have any questions, Mr. Patel?
Yeah, I do. So how are you gonna make this, you're sure this isn't gonna happen again? It happened in 20, it happened in 21.
Correct.
What have you done?
Yes, sir. We educate the employees, so focus, ask ID, to each and every customer before you sell the beer or alcohol or tobacco also. Tobacco is 21 now these days, under
So
21.
Did you fire the employees that sold it in 20 and 21?
Yes, 2020 we fired employees. 2021, that was by accidentally they sold it. They apologized and we still have them and educated. Don't do it again, this didn't happen. If it happen again, we'll fire them again in future.
So you did fire them?
Yes.
And that's a different answer than you gave me last
No,
time.
in 2020. 2021, we didn't fire it. The last year.
Okay, because
So,
last month you said, well, you don't do that. You don't fire. But
No,
now you're saying you did in 2020.
2020, there was citation, there was 2-month citation we have, 60 days
Right.
alcohol. So we don't do that again. But 2021, there were different employees.
It was what employee?
2021, there was different employees. There was not the same employee. It was different one. So we just give them one chance. If it happen again, then we're gonna fire it.
Any other questions of Mr. Patel? I think we're good.
Tell you, can I see you?
Thank you.
This is the same one?
Pepe's is not here, and they provided the letter that they wrote to council, so if we want to, I don't mind reading that, if we want to read it into the record, or if y'all just want to have that. Ms. Patel was here at the last meeting.
Right.
And the difference there, y'all, I questioned her, she was very clear when they had the episode, she fired. That's all they can do. You can educate, you can talk, you can, till you're blue in the face. And they're gonna do what the employees are gonna do what they're gonna do. All they can do then is fire. And she was very clear, she fired them. That wasn't the same response they got on speak up. So I judged the two differently.
Jessica, that letter will be part of the record just per the minutes being in the council packet, is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I don't think, unless the council would like to have it read, I think we're good just it being in the packet.
No, Council, just for your information, you'll have 30 days from today in order to make your decision
Okay,
at a regular meeting.
Right.
Special calls.
okay, all right.
I think the next hearing we have is Eastside Superette. All right, so Jessica, if you would you give the council the background on the Eastside Superette situation?
Okay, Mr. Huda was, this is located on Ferry Lake Road. Mr. Huda was not able to make the December meeting, so this was brought forward. But during the renewal period, it was disclosed during that time that he had also received a citation not for an alcohol-related charge, but a gambling incident that is still pending. He has not went to court yet. So when the city manager reviewed that application, he wanted to bring it before council to consider the renewal. So tonight, it's the same as what we did previously. I provided the police report. It's behind the letter that we mailed from the city of Fitzgerald. You have that information. Mr. Huda is recognized as the owner in that, and the I don't know a lot of, what do you call them? What would you call the other people?
The victim, the
No.
defendant?
The offender. The offender was, her last name was Nay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was one of your
She used to work
workers?
for me, yes.
Okay. And they were both charged by the city of Fitzgerald. So this is just bringing forward, it is a pending case. The location does also have gambling machines at a location in Tifton. So it's not really alcohol related, it's just criminal activity.
Where did this occur, Jessica?
Fitzgerald, right? That's what we have. And you also own this location at 514?
East Road, I did, not anymore.
You don't own?
No,
okay.
not anymore. I'm not the owner over there.
But at this time, when this incident happened, you
I
were
was the owner at that time, yes.
Okay.
And I have a court date on the 10th, February 10th, for this matter.
I'm sorry, you said that you have a
Court date
court date,
on the 10th of February, yes.
and that's up in Fitzgerald?
Yes,
And you've entered a plea of not guilty, is that right?
yes.
And you intend on defending that case and taking?
Yes, I have a lawyer, yeah.
I don't know if y'all have any questions. It's a pending case. Looks like he's entered a plea of not guilty.
I do have a question. I noticed on the police report that there was someone who was arrested on drug charges. Did that all happen at the same time?
I was not at the store. It was probably one of the customers at the store.
Uh-huh.
I think it was them. It was one of the customers that got arrested for the drug charges.
The way the report reads, it looks like it all happened at the same time, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, John?
Trying to read, I guess, I'm a little bit, so, one thing happened in Fitzgerald.
It's not fair.
The store that he operates with the license is here in Tipton. The gambling offense occurred in Fitzgerald.
So did anything happen at East Side?
Super Red?
Not before the constable, I mean.
But you have to be, we were made aware of it because of the licensing
Yeah,
application.
because of life, but nothing illegal that we know of has taken place at East Side Super Red. Okay, that's what I.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that was
Okay.
the main question.
Okay. Rob, I think we're good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll make our decision at the council meeting. So if there are any questions as you read through the material or think of anything, certainly we can reach out to Rob or to Jessica to provide any clarification. So thank you. So we'll move on to new business. I'd like to call on Ricky Hobby and Aaron Sowa to come and talk to us about solid waste and recycling.
Aaron could not be here at the last minute. Mr. Richard Lee
Okay.
and John Nail are here
Okay.
with Ryland, if there's any, questions directed to them. Just wanted to give you a little food for thought in our recycling program. It is becoming, a counterproductive for us. And also, the costs are rising with this recycling curbside. And it's very hard to find a market for our recycling to deliver, in a nearby market. The Cordell area was one of them, and it has closed without any, John was saying he's just spoken with them. They don't, not saying when they're gonna be able to open up, but they have found a market up in around Columbus, which, as y'all well know, is an hour and 45-minute drive with a car up there. So this is just for y'all to think about. We're gonna do a little more research. It's just to discuss the availability for disposables. Also, there's a recycling contamination. One can make a whole load contaminated. So they have come up with a plan to educate on that if y'all so desire to, move forward with our recycling program. And they're prepared, to start handing that out, and we'll give you that information before it's handed out, of course, for y'all to approve and look at. And John has been doing a lot. He's been in the industry how long, John? About 12 years. So he's been doing a lot of research and trying to find facilities. Tallahassee has one, but they don't take certain items. So, and then also you have to cross state lines with trucks, which means they have to have their trucks permitted to go across state lines, which, and all this, raises the cost of everything. So we're just, just wanting to get y'all to be thinking about it, where we want to go with this recycling program. Like I say, before the next, before we want to do this in March, we'll present it back to you in March, but before then we'll have you some information that you can, with detailed information y'all can look over and talk amongst yourselves about it. But, John, have you got anything you want to add to it, or y'all have any questions for Ryland as far as?
Let me help just a little bit, in addition with what Ricky presented. The bottom line is our recycling program is in a state of flux. We simply don't have anywhere to take the recyclables. Contamination is a problem. Hauling to Tallahassee or to Columbus obviously is a big issue, but recycling itself is starting to become an issue for a lot of communities. And I handed you an excerpt from a recent article that came out, and you could look through nationwide of programs that are being canceled because of either cost or contamination or the pandemic, but going on almost 3 pages, and three out of Georgia, one being in Valdosta, where there simply isn't a place to take the recyclables. And Ricky and Ryland individuals have talked about this. How can we best address it? What is the short-term plan? What is the long-term plan? And that's something that we need another month to come up with specifics. But really the bottom line is that as of right now, we do not have a place to market this stuff. Now that comes with some speculation. What will happen with costs? Will there be a reduction in our price? Will there be charges if we continue with the recycling program? And this is something that I hope that John and Ricky come back with to give you some more information to what if. And I think really where this is headed, my recommendation, where I see this going, is our recycling program, just putting a pause on it for 6 months to see what happens with the market, or if another facility opens up where we could take it. But we'll bring that back to you. But again, we're in dire straits as far as costs and where to take the recyclable material. So it is something that is not taken lightly, and we know there's a lot of people that really like recycling, and it's part of our program, but it's simply, the simple fact is we're up against a wall on this one.
Will there be anywhere, if you wanted to, I know if we pause the curbside recycling, will there be anywhere for voluntary recycling that I could take my own to a specific location?
That has been part of the discussion. I have reached out to our county about the South Central site, just haven't heard back from them. Okay. I know at one time that was suspended for city residents. So I'm waiting on an answer there from, if we're able to utilize that site again. But yes, that's all a part of what we want, our plans, and that's what we're asking from you, how do you want to go forward with it also?
So in the meantime, we're not going to have recycling, is that what we're saying?
Well, for the next month, what we have to do is consider, and one of the things that have come out of this study where these three have been working on in certain areas, obviously when the recycle truck is picking up the recycle cans, the loads are getting spoiled because of contamination. A lot of residents are using the second can for a garbage can. Right. And we have to educate, so we have some work to do. So to answer your question, I don't know what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. And do you guys have any recommendations on what you see and how you want to do this?
And the reason, let's be clear, I got a text today from somebody, and they talked to Ryland to ask about recycling, and the response they got was that the recycling facility's been closed for 3 months and all of it's going to the dump. Maybe that's true or not true, but it's true. Ryland told somebody that.
Contaminated loads have been coming, yes,
so,
to the dump.
If that's the case, then that's the case. But we got to be clear on what our message is. If there's nowhere to take it, we can't just not pick it up. If we're gonna take it off to the dump for a month, then we take it off to the dump for the month, and everybody knows that. Yeah,
that's what it will have to be till we can find somewhere, that we can carry it. And, like I said, it's contaminated loads, and all it takes is 1 or 2 cans contaminate a whole load.
Any idea, of how big a problem is that? As far as contaminated loads?
It varies in different areas. I imagine you can go up to 80% in some areas that they're contaminated. They've been doing a study on that. That's part of the education we're doing. John has actually been riding around, and Richard, with them, checking the loads, and that's, some areas are 80%, some areas are 25%. But it doesn't, the percentage don't really matter. 1% contaminates a truckload.
Well, that's what I want about, the truckload itself,
Yeah. Technically, I would imagine every load they've ever carried had some contamination in it. And where they're looking at right now is the Columbus area. They will not accept any contamination at all.
That's where we're kidding ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we are absolutely kidding ourselves, thinking, well, we're recycling and we're doing right for the planet and this and that, and what's really happening? We're not recycling. People won't do right, or they don't understand, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, say you don't understand what you put in there, and they're contaminated load is being dumped anyway. So why go through I'm a big recycler too, why go through this and just say, wow, we're doing a great job? No, we're not.
We're not. And years ago, you were exactly right. I would say 2, 3, 4 years ago, you could take a contaminated load to a recycling facility and they would pretty much sort it. They pick out what they want, they take the garbage, and they put it in another can. And that was acceptable. Right?
That's right, and that expense has become their expense now to landfill what's come into them, so.
In the private sector, it's all about the costs, and now it's lopsided, where it's costing too much to dispose of recycling. But you're exactly right. I think, Mayor, the best thing, if we want to recycle, is to create an area where we have enclosed containers, and if you put your bottle in it, it goes, and that's only bottles. And when you put cardboard, it's only cardboard. And we could look at having a inner city type of recycling program where it's pure, and we pay for, the hauling costs and get it to a processing facility. But to your point, it's true recycling.
Right.
It's going to a spot where it's being recycled.
Okay, I'm going to ask, I have some stupid questions sometimes, but I want to make sure that I understand the process. So let's say I know in my neighborhood, trash pickup day is every Wednesday, and then recycling pickup is every other Wednesday. So now it's recycling pickup day. The trash can comes through and empties my red can. Then the recycle truck comes through, and they're going to dump anything that's in that blue can into that recycle bin. That's where you're talking. So the garbage men that are on site there aren't going to look in my blue can and say, well, that's contaminated, let's go ahead and dump it. So that's what I thought you were saying. So I want to make sure I understood that, so that everybody understands that's what's happening. They have to dump what's in that blue can into that recycle bin.
That's right.
I mean, a recycle truck.
Recycle truck.
Yeah, and so, and I drive through my neighborhood and see it being used as a.
And there's no way they can get out and inspect every can. I mean,
and that's why I just wanted to make clear that that's what's happening, so.
But that's what they have been doing as management.
Right.
Going behind the trucks or in front of the actual recycle truck.
Right.
And checking the cans, and that's where they've come up with their percentages,
Well, we might as well, that's, to me, let's look for a city area or something. If those that want to recycle, will recycle properly. To think that the rest of it's gonna work, been doing it, ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
You're gonna have all the rest of it, and let's quit kidding ourselves, and let's do recycling. If you want it, you're just gonna have to take it to where you want it, and move on.
Yeah, this has been mounting for the last probably 2.5 years, 3 years. If you're okay with me temporarily suspending the residential recycling program, then at least we could get word out, and I asked Ricky when Rowland to get to work to create some containers and some possible areas that we could put these containers and turn it where we still have outlets for recycling, if that works for you.
I think the outlet for recycling is gonna be real important. Gentlemen, any comments or questions?
I just think there should be some type of public education.
Oh, yeah.
So they can understand.
Right.
We have a lot of work to do.
Way back, we did have the same problem years and years, 15, 16 years ago, had the same problem. It became so contaminated that we stopped our curbside service.
Right.
And then we went to the convenience centers, those who wanted to or wanted to continue, then it was there for the convenience center for them to do it. And it's much cleaner that way.
Right.
Because only those who really want to recycle will go carry it.
I'm all for education, but when I look at the top of the can and the air is pointing one way and the can is turned the other way, there's not education in the world. Whether you people looking
Well,
there and
and-
cannot turn anything cans on.
And I got a complaint today, someone was fussing about, you know, the can's been out for weeks out on the road, you know, so
I get
the,
the same thing.
yeah, so, anyway,
Crystal, we're working on that
yeah.
really heavily. So, all right, so if everybody's okay with me temporarily suspending that, and I'll come up with some resolve on some ideas on containers.
When would the suspension go into effect?
That's my question.
So,
Yeah,
and then,
we already-
It's already been suspended.
and I think, you know, what's fair, I think I'll ask Ricky to broach this with Ryland, is that we agreed on a service, so if one component of a service is not there, how that's gonna work on costs, and I'll ask you three to talk through that, okay?
There should be a reduction. Just
I
so you know
agree.
where I'm going wrong, there should be a reduction.
I agree.
I'll have that for you,
Okay.
very soon, but I think the outlets would be, at least we have options
Right.
to do that, so we'll start working on that right away.
And outlets would be conveniently located within districts, or are you thinking one location or one central location? Have you given any thought, you may not have thought through that yet, I don't know.
I haven't given any thought, have you guys?
The previous recycling cannot be used anymore with Northside Fire Station. That's not an option. So we got to find some property
Okay.
that would, you know, work for that, so.
So you guys could go to work on come up with some potentials, and I don't even know, do they make recycle 30,
Yes.
40 yards anymore?
They make a container that is a roll-off container that has your slotted, you know, for recycling.
Okay.
And has lock lids, you know, that you can't actually open it and just dump your trash in.
Okay,
If,
It's sort of like they already have some of the cardboard type containers. That's all, you can flatten your cardboard out.
Right.
Put it in a container, so.
if we suspend it right away, what will we do with the blue cans if residents still putting it out by the side of the road? We're just not gonna pick that up, correct?
Yeah, you have
Well-
any thoughts on that?
I think we're gonna have to make another round. I mean, that's why we're looking as a month.
This week's non-recycle week, so we can start next week and clean it up one time.
Are you proposing to pick up the cans?
Yes.
Well, just empty cans, maybe leave them in place until y'all make the final decision.
If you're gonna have to make another round, because you'll
yeah,
be
they'll
back.
keep using them.
If you don't collect them, they're gonna be full.
Well, next week for sure.
To collect them, yes?
So next week, if they did the round, could you pick up the cans then as well? Because if not, people are gonna continue to keep
Yeah.
piling stuff in it and putting it out every other week or every week or what have you.
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts on that, so if you'll just give us another week, you guys, if you please do some work and get those specifics back to me, I'll continue
Okay.
to feed you, and we'll get the word out to the public.
Okay.
Right now, I'm not gonna take any, swift action, we're gonna go into it so we know what we're doing, and then we understand what Ryland's gonna do on the collection side.
Okay, that works. Any other questions, comments for Ricky or the Ryan team? Anybody?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you,
And
Ricky.
we'll get word out.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jonathan, call on you to come and talk to us about requests for qualifications received for the energy audit services and cost analysis.
So I basically was tasked, we'll take this off for a second, to take a look at some of the energy audits and kind of do a kind of evaluation to see if we're able to lower some of our energy costs initially across the city. And so I put out a request for qualifications just to see how many companies are out there. And so we've got, I think, 10 or 11 responders. And most of those responders are companies that look at what we call engineering services. They want to come in and they want to measure the square footage of all the buildings and make major adjustments and major changes for the energy services to help save return on investment. So your savings would not necessarily come for 4 or 5 years. When we started looking at that, it was kind of determined, let's take this in a phased approach. Phase one, let's just take a look at our electricity bills at this point in time. So we look at all of our energy bills from Georgia Power and Colquitt EMC all at one time, get them to do an evaluation on those to see if there's cost savings in what we are being charged at any point in time. Most of these groups will do a history, so they'll go several years in history, make adjustments, we'll get some refunds or whatever's necessary. And then if we deem necessary that we really want to, we can delve deeper into a possibility of a phase 2 project, where we would then, I would suggest, select facilities at a time and maybe do a facility at a time instead of trying to tackle all the buildings. So that's what this is. This is my request for qualifications. We took a look at all those responders. We narrowed it down to those kind of 4 that really focused in on this is the bills, and we made a selection out of those 4, one that we think will fit the city the best as far as the cost and the contract and everything together with that.
Yeah, good. Jonathan has done a great job with this, very technical. This was part of your goals, if you remember, and things that we wanted to look as far as the engineering. When I got into looking at the scope on how this is done, it really is. You could go into old buildings and say, you're not energy efficient. And I'd say, yeah, you're right. But it's not feasible to replace all the windows in a 100-year-old building. So Jonathan and I started looking at it to say, how can we do this in steps? And I think he's right on target with collecting all our utility bills and analyzing that to see what we're doing as far as paying as far as costs, peak and non-peak. And I think it'd be a good exercise to do it. And what he has recommended is Troy and Banks is an outfit that requires only a 1-year agreement. And we pay them 33%,
33% for 1 year
of the findings.
And of what they find.
So it's not something that you continue unless you want to, and then maybe go into another area and another facet of the energy audit to take a look at some of the facilities, the bigger footprints, the PDs and the fire departments and public works to see what kind of improvements we could possibly make. So that's how it concluded. But I'd love to see what our energy bills and what that study has.
So this is really just an audit of Georgia Power.
And Colquitt MC, that's correct. Correct, because we have energy bills. I took a quick look over the past couple of months at our energy bills, or power bills, but that's all we're looking at this point is the power from Georgia Power and Colquitt MC. But it's looking at all of the bills, all of those 2 bills. Every bill that we get for every facility, every street light, everything that we pay for electricity, that's what we're targeting with this.
And so if they don't find if there's no savings, everything is saying, okay, we don't owe anything.
Absolutely, that's correct. They call it a net zero. If they don't find anything, they don't get paid for it.
So from there, we're going to go into lighting and that kind of stuff, that's where lots of money is. Correct. And that's where, again, a number of the groups, they really wouldn't give any cost estimates or anything like that because they said they have to come to a full audit of the facility, which means they come in, measure the square footage, check lights and everything, and they're addressing your consumption is basically, and this is, okay, we're not really looking at the consumption, we just want to see what we're charged at this moment for this first phase. And I guarantee our consumption is way above what it ought to be. They're 2 totally different things. Inactivity in bills is one thing. Consumption is something else.
Now, we can, and we've talked through that. There are organizations, and I have a recommendation of one that comes in and does the utility bill, analyzing it, and then they'll go into the next phase.
So most of the responders do both. But they, generally speaking, again, that's where it's kind of gray area. They would not give me any type of idea or estimate on what their rate of return is, like this, 33% for a year, until they come in and they do a full audit. Basically, what they're saying is they're not, in my opinion, they're not as concerned with looking at your energy bills. Yes, there's some savings there, but what they're looking at is they want to change your consumption rate. They want to come in for the bigger project, let's change all the lights and all the windows and all those types of things, and they'll help us fund those, but it's going to be a 3-year project to do that work, and then 6 years from now, you'll start realizing some of those savings if you follow their plan that they lay out for you. Again, we're looking for, that was kind of how I broke it out, because trying to do something that large across all of our facilities would be a major undertaking, and that's where let's take a one sweep with this. Let's see how this organization does as far as looking at our bills. If we do a phase 2, there's nothing to say that we can't let that Phase 2 company do the exact same thing with those bills for that particular facility as part of their project.
Okay.
A lot to digest.
Yeah, it is.
We're off to the savings. One's.
Well, we got to start somewhere, and so this
That's
is a
right.
good start, so.
That's
All right,
right.
any other,
All the projects out there involved with it, they start with lights and that's.
Right. They start with lights, and they start with windows, and they start with climate control. That's where everybody starts.
That's our logic to start with utility bills to see where we are, and we could be spot on, which we find we could go into Phase 2 immediately.
okay. All right, any other questions, gentlemen? All right, thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
Thank you,
You for all
Jonathan.
your work and investigating all of that, so we appreciate that. All right, Emily Beeman, I'll call on you to come and discuss and review the city-paid holidays.
Mayor and Council, if you remember back last year in June, President Joe Biden approved a bill on June 17th declaring June 19th a federal holiday. They declared it Juneteenth holiday. We brought it before council. At that point in time, we had just approved our budget, ready to go for the new budget year. So we committed to bringing it back this month in February for you guys to look at in return of our budget now to see if this is a holiday that we want to add to the city, whether we add it in addition or we substitute it for another holiday, or if we even want to recognize it. In your packet that Jessica sent out, the financial implications is quoted at a little over $23,000, almost $24,000. But I want to clarify that. When you talk about city buildings closing, your Monday through Friday individuals, the 40 hours a week, those people have already, their salaries have already been captured in the budget. So they're already accounted for. However, in our policy, public safety works if a department is open 365 days a year, we use those holiday days as floaters. So if they work the holiday, they don't get paid the holiday pay, they're able to take another day off, and that's what it's for. It's used so employees aren't burnt out, especially our public safety individuals. If you take out the individuals that work that 40-hour work week, you do take out a lot, but public safety, the cost implication of that is $15,000. So that is what really is going to affect the budget, is the $15,000. I don't want you to look at the $24,000 and say, oh, we're spending $24,000. Ultimately, we're not. We already have those salaries captured in the budget. It's the public safety and the departments that are open 365 days a year.
So with that, we're just looking for some guidance on what you'd like to do with regard to this federal holiday. Again, the recommendations are to incorporate that part of the schedule, or replace one, or just not recognize the holiday itself in the personnel policy manual. So again, just something for you to think on, and we'll need some direction on that.
Any questions?
Just in generic, I see we have 10 holidays, and I'm not thinking yay or nay. My experience in private industry, we had 9. 10 is a good number. I mean, that's certainly not lagging as far as not providing holidays. This another one, we ended with May, and then we got June, and we got July, and we got some holidays all just boom, boom, boom there. So I just take that as just trying to think through it.
Right, again, we have a couple months before this hits, so if you're not ready to make a decision, then I could carry it to March or to April, and we have plenty of time to do that. So we committed last year, and Jessica had it on her board, so we wanted to bring it forward.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
No, sorry. I'm for it.
Okay. All right. All right. We will give that every consideration. And again, if there's any questions, if you have any questions concerning the budget impact and that type of thing, Emily, is it okay that we contact you or email you?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Okay, our next item is review of the redistricting maps following the 2020 census. And Jessica, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I guess we need to get our maps out, right?
Yeah, it's in there, and that is just option 3. I believe that you all received option 1 and 2, the
We
large
did.
map, so since y'all had that, I wanted to make sure y'all had the large map of 3 also. Plan 1 and 2 were the same ones that were presented, I believe it was at the end of last year by Mr. Michael from the Regional Commission. He did a presentation and everything. And so basically what he did was, pulled up our map, and he can pull up census data in coordinating with his map, and he would say, okay, to, whatever the split was, let's see. Each, what is it, 40, right around the, I thought I had that wrote down. Every district should have around 4,200 would be, everybody was exactly the same. And so basically he was just looking at census blocks close to the lines to say, okay, District 1 had the most growth since 2010. So District 1 needs to shrink a little bit. And then District 3 did not have as much. And it doesn't reflect in the numbers, but District 4 actually had, District 4 had them, 1 and 3 were pretty close, because District 1 had, from 2010 to 2020, District 1 had an additional 387 increase in their population, and District 4 had 314 increase. But District 4, I don't know in 2010 if they were planning, there was a development or something that they were anticipating.
Just everyone wants to live where MJ's the council.
Well, that
What can we say?
That area has grown when it started, behind. So, and then after I looked at what Michael presented, option 3 is just my recommendation to not, in the best way possible, keep it at an arterial street. I know
easier to follow the
MJ before
boundary.
had one little markup above 20th, and that was the assisted living there at the corner of 10th and 20th. Well, that doesn't really make sense why it's easier. I know Josh had some issues when he was campaigning, and he was like, I thought I was here and here, and it's hard when you're looking at a small map and not a large map to understand where those lines begin and end. So I was just trying to make it more go off what we have and build off, trying to get to a more major street. So if you look at option 3 and option 2. Now, plan 1, I have it drawn, but y'all didn't seem to like, based on what I remember, plan 2.
Plan 2 or plan 1? Plan 1 has less.
Yeah.
I guess what I don't like about 3 is it takes away several streets. It's more, if I'm looking at mine, but you look at 1, it straightens up some of the lines, and MJ loses a little bit down there, but the rest of it it stays the same. Plan 3 tends to take, I lose several streets and going over 4 or 5. It's major changes to, it appears to me, but.
Well, those are the ones that have to be impacted the most, is, in that area. But Jack, you're saying around that 12th Street that if you're looking from 3 to 1 in option 3, you're losing people around that 12th, 14th Street, but you're gaining those people in the area of 20th
All
Street,
right, but
taken away from District 1.
that's when it juts out, you know, it's another one of these like I've got now. Comes out, moves over 2 streets, comes down 3 streets, comes back over 2 streets, and then goes out. Those are the ones that are confusing to me.
All right, let me ask another question. MJ, looking at option 3, does that put you living outside your district?
And that's what I was gonna see.
Does it include both sides of Second Street would be in District 3, Jessica, or is it just the south side of Second Street?
South side.
Half of it.
So that would have you then outside your district for your residents, which,
Yeah.
that's not good. We
Well,
can't do
he's on
that.
the north side
I'm
of,
on Library Lane side, so,
He's over there.
yeah, he's on the
He
north
was
side of
losing out
Second.
on 1 and 3.
yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
looking at, okay, so, okay, I
Yeah,
was looking
Library
at
Lane
it
is
wrong.
still-
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's, I mean, that's the way it is now. That's the way our,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that that didn't cut him out of his
So is it
district.
the entire Second Street or half, like 17?
On option 3.
On option 3,
One
option
and
3
only
actually
thing
kinda
that's-
stays.
Option 3 would be half you, half MJ
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
clarifying. It's like half
on
of
Second Street.
Yeah, similar
that
to
may be
17,
about
but
the
count
railroad
half.
Yeah.
track. I think it's not really showing the railroad track, but it's kind of just this little downtown area that what he has now is just kind of bringing that up, everything to 20th, I mean, the second for
Okay.
District 3.
Well,
It doesn't matter to me.
yeah, I mean,
I don't like 3, I'll tell you. I don't like 3.
So 3's out, is that a consensus?
Are we doing it, we're.
We taking to a vote now?
no, we're not gonna vote now. It's just,
Kinda discussing.
just kind of for
I
discussion.
just tell you what I
Jack's
don't,
just
I just
saying.
tell you what I don't like.
Yeah.
What you don't
He
like.
could live with, so you're saying we could live with 1 or 2?
Could live that, I mean, I prefer 1, I think.
I prefer 1.
It appears to be less movement, from one to the other, and it straightens up some lines that I've seen.
Okay,
I know Wes had trouble over on Central, and I tried to explain it. There were some on Central.
It's
that-
always
They were his, and I
confusing,
said, and so
yeah.
now they would actually be mine, because they would
Yeah.
run down Central instead of Park, so.
well, that just means we'll get more in District 4, MJ, because if Jack's gonna become, no, I'm teasing, I'm picking at you. I'm teasing Jack,
This
but,
is real serious to you.
yes.
So and let me start by saying, we do not have to have local legislation to make this change. You could do that by ordinance, and Rob could make sure we have all the
Okay.
correct paperwork for that. So, with that
Okay.
said, we could bring back Michael Rivera with 2 options to really work on the maps to let you see that. Or if you like one versus the other, then we could ask Michael to go to work and make sure the numbers were on.
I think we let him look at number 1.
I'm gonna defer to you gentlemen. I obviously run at large, so I'm not gonna weigh in one way or the other. I think it's up to you to decide what you are comfortable with for your particular district. Okay, so,
MJ and I like 1.
I think you're leaning towards 1 too. Did I hear you say
Yes,
that?
yeah,
Okay,
One kind of cleans it up.
Yeah.
I was just wanting to clarify that Second Street was half.
Yeah.
Half and half.
Yeah, this side of Second, and then
Okay.
other side of Second, so
No,
if you,
Yeah, north and south there.
so,
Okay.
you know,
Would
we'll
it be
still
helpful to have
share
it-
downtown, but it just be more start Second, and then you'll be,
And then I'll pick up Second,
yeah,
half Second. when it
Yeah, on the-
comes-
on
as it
the-
goes west.
yeah,
across
east to
railroad
west,
track,
yeah.
Josh, any thoughts?
No, I do think it would be helpful if he came back.
Okay,
If he came back, because we can
I
blow
think
up a blow-up map, because that's easy to read if you want to see that and zone in a little more on the areas, or Michael could come back and help explain this with Jessica, and making sure that our numbers, his numbers that he did are.
right. Yeah, that's gonna be real important to get that balance.
yeah.
Make sure you are comfortable with that, and that you're comfortable with the shift, and if you are, we can wrap it up and go from there.
Guys, just so you know, I mean, we can do this by home rule.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a charter amendment. It will take 2 consecutive meetings in order to have it passed, of course, have it
Okay,
published in the paper. So
sure.
you're looking at a 7-day to a 60-day window in which you're gonna have to have those 2 meetings.
Okay. So we've got, we've got some, it sounds like we're leaning towards option 1 anyway, so, but yeah, let's bring him back, Pete, if that's okay, and then, In the meantime, as you continue to study these maps and work within your districts, if there's any issue that comes up, just reach out to Pete, I would think, to sort of funnel any concerns.
Is
So.
it safe for me to say that option of Plan 1 is for him to zero in on? Is everyone good with that?
I think that's what it sounds like we're leaning towards, so.
Yeah. Bring it back and just look at Plan 1 and.
See what issues
One,
there
yeah,
are.
see what issues.
Which he putting together right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he would have seen them when he put it together.
Right, yeah, he's pretty conscientious when it comes to that. Okay, any other questions for Jessica or Pete or Rob concerning the redistricting as a result of the census? Okay, moving on to our resolutions. We have the information in your packet for designating the Rhythm and Ribs as a festival. And Jessica, any updates or anything we need to know about that? It's pretty standard procedure.
Yes.
Okay.
No, well, I mean, no, they don't have any, there's no updates from the previous year. The Tourism Association, along with the City of Tipton's a big sponsor of this event. It's the first Saturday in March, and they're looking to have alcohol sales at the park on Friday and Saturday.
Okay. All right, any questions, gentlemen, concerning that? Again, this is just kind of housekeeping that we do each year for that festival. It's going to be an exciting weekend. I hope you've got that weekend marked off on your calendar. That first Friday will be the kickoff party that evening. We'll have music, and it's a lot of fun in the park. We've got, how many teams, Abby? Do you remember how many teams we've got signed up now? A lot.
Almost 30 on each side.
Yeah, so it's going to be a busy year. We're working on some surprises we can't talk about yet, but if it comes together, it's going to be really, really big for Tifton. So just keep your ears open for that, and invite all your family and friends to come have a good time. And if anybody has couches they want to throw away, see Doug Smith. He always sets up his little living room area. All right, moving right along. Jessica, you want to talk about the update of the schedule fees?
Since we have started the liquor, we passed the actual ordinance last meeting. So the schedule fees will have to be updated to include that.
The liquor package license, okay. And that's in your packet, so you see that.
And I can't remember exactly what Rob told me to say, so I'm gonna let him say.
It looks, I mean, it appears that when you talk about licenses for wine and beer, those are just set by you all. As far as distilled spirits, there's a specific limitation on the amount of fees, which is $5,000. So based upon my understanding of the distilled spirits part of the state law, you cannot charge more than $5,000 for a package sales license.
Okay.
That's your maximum.
So is that what we're gonna charge?
I'll just say it in the best way that I can say. That's what I proposed, was the 5,000, and then I changed it today for 4 on that page. So that was just because I wasn't sure.
That's what I was wondering.
If that was, because most people do the package beer and wine. So in a total, it would be, if it was set at 4,000, realistically their license would be 5,000, because I don't think anybody's not going to sell beer and wine at
in their package
store. So, and I didn't know, but the attorney makes that call. So.
Basically, you can charge for, you can charge up to $5,000 for distilled spirits package sales license. And in addition to that $5,000, you can charge a license fee for beer, and you can charge a license fee for wine.
Okay, so the
Beer and wine.
so the liquor package retail should be $5,000,
If that's what y'all decide. Yes,
Okay.
you have the authority to do that.
not the 4, if we're gonna go with it. It's gonna be 5.
That's what
we can go
staff
to
is
5.
that's what staff is recommending. That's up to y'all to decide.
So this sheet needs to be, say, 5 instead of 4.
It
Yes,
would.
I will
once
Or
we-
it
update.
would if we do it.
Yeah.
Distilled spirits consumption. Now, tell me, I know you told me before.
That's liquor by the drink. That's what we currently have.
Is
So
that the most we can charge for that too?
No,
3 the most for that, or is
you
it
should
5
be
too?
able to charge up to the 5,000. They're both distilled spirits.
Okay,
So
while we're changing, let's change that to 5.
Well, but now remember, hold on. That sounds real good, because you're probably thinking about these, major chains that we have a lot of.
Right.
You also have a lot of mom and pop restaurants, locally owned restaurants that have struggled
Okay, fair enough.
through, so I would be hesitant to, just make a
When they get
blanket.
back on their feet, then we maybe go to bat.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Point made.
So right now, it'll be liquor retail package, possibility at 5, plus another $500 for your beer and wine package? Right, okay, so it'd be 5,500 total if you do beer and wine and you got liquor.
It would be, if y'all set it at $5,000, realistically, they would pay the $6,000 a year. It's $500 each.
Oh, okay, so, okay, 5 and 5, okay. It throws me off with this.
Yeah, the way that it's.
The way that it's listed on here,
It's
it might throw
confusing.
people off the
Yeah.
way, so we might need to look at that too. It's got like beer, malt, whatever, beverage, but I
Package,
guess so.
Well, one's package, one's consumption.
Back to that
Okay.
consumption.
Okay, wine, okay, I see it now.
yeah, our ordinance separates those out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you could in theory have a restaurant that only served beer and wine,
Right.
such as Charles Seafood. They don't have a
Right,
full bar,
exactly.
you know, so they have their sort of à la carte menu of what they want to
Mhm.
select from, so. Okay,
Okay.
any other questions of Jessica on those fees? And you have she put the full range of fees there, so if there's anything else that jumps out to you that you may have question about, just reach out to her if you need, especially with our new council members, if you're curious about any of those, we'll be glad to provide any information for you. So that full schedule of fees is in your packet. Any other questions of Jessica before we move on?
So are y'all okay with the 5,000 recommendation?
I think so. That's what it sounded like. So. Okay. All right. City manager report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Two things. First, I've provided you a copy of the Equity and Inclusion Commission report, and this is a final report from GMA. You probably heard this a time or two in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. This is the final report that the committee has worked through and has organized, and now is a final product. Very well done, Mayor. Thank you for your involvement, and I think there's 26 of
It was,
elected
I
officials.
was asked to be involved in that committee by then GMA President Vince Williams. And it is one of the, I didn't know where we were going with this and where GMA was going. It was absolutely one of the most beneficial things to happen in my life, because once you become aware, you begin to see things, and some of the conversations were extremely difficult, but there were conversations we had to have. We all came at this with different perspectives and different backgrounds and different ideas, and it kind of stripped everybody of their preconceived ideas, and you had to kind of face your own demons in a sense. It makes you begin to think of community in such a different way, and it transfers into your work life, it transfers into church, it transfers into civic organizations. It covers, it's not just an organization like the City of Tifton, as far as the business of the City of Tifton. You realize it becomes the way you think, and so it was such an honor to be able to serve on this Equity and Inclusion Commission. I'm so thankful that I did, and because it opened my eyes to things that I maybe wasn't aware of, or had not been exposed to, or had not had that conversation. So I'm just very thankful that I had that opportunity.
That's good. Well, and there was a lot of work that has went into this. GMA has taken lead as an organization to say, look, this report is not something that we put on the shelf. In final form, what this has done is act as a guide to say, here's are the things that you can do. And when this is final, I'll be bringing this back for you. If you'd like to adopt it, we'll adopt it as our policy, just like we do City of Ethics and others, that we are going to adopt the equity and inclusion action and call to action. So just a couple things, if you'll turn to page 15. These are the recommendations for GMA and for cities, so you could read both of those, but GMA is recommending that they do their part, and then the following is recommending that cities do their part. So it's kind of neat. You could see what the specifics are. It goes through other areas from housing to education, to health and well-being, and the public safety. So there are many levels to this where we could use this as a guiding tool to live by and to adopt and understand, which is the greatest thing about that. Things that we can make a difference in, things that we could work with other partners to do. So again, this is going to be something that we'll continue to work on and with. And on page 44, there's a timeline of a final work schedule, as you could see how this will unfold, when it'll be most appropriate to take this on and adopt it, and then set some goals for ourselves to utilize. So it is a great product. Very proud for GMA to come and do this, and then cities following GMA's lead. I think it'll be a great day for local governments on how we do our business. So I wanted to share that with you. I heard it, and I was interested to see it and was able to read through it, and now we'll follow that timeline and make it part of our normal business. So
I do want, I would like for the council to look at the certification process for us. You know, that was one of the things that the commission put together was, you know, what can a city or a municipality do to become certified? And it's a pretty lengthy process, but it's something that will bring, I think, great credit to our community. And so I'd like for us to look at that certification process. One of the things that, there were so many things that were implemented by the Georgia Municipal Association as a result of this report, but in your newly elected training, that was one of the things that every official be exposed to equity and inclusion training, every newly elected official. So you'll see that in your newly elected training that's coming up in March. So it's a lot to read through, it's a lot to process, but do try to really peruse and get in depth with it, because it's amazing. And I know we've already had, some of our departments have been through some of the training.
We've already started. Freddie Broom has come
Yes.
in, and he's actually have completed, the police department has completed equity and inclusion training already. So we're already in motion on this, and he did a great job, and we've had some great feedback from it. So
excellent.
Good stuff, and we'll continue on it. But I wanted to share this with you as soon as I can, and I'll continue to give you updates as the committee works through the final chapters. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, as of today, Jessica has 5 liquor store applications in. So we are doing our thing, and she is doing a great job maintaining that. And they have, what's the deadline for? Next Wednesday. So 5 good applications, it looks like, and hopefully next week we'll see some more. If not,
Okay.
we'll move on.
From all 4, some from each of the districts, or?
They're all interested in applying for each district.
Each district.
Okay.
I asked that same question earlier, yeah, so, okay, what else, Pete?
That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, all right, we will conclude with mayor and council comments. Anybody want to start the conversation?
Oh, I'll start it.
Okay.
The experience of going up into Atlanta, I just wanted to commend you on the exceptional job you did up there.
Well, thank you,
and my
Lester.
newfound inspiration through you.
Well, thank you, I
So
appreciate
I just
that.
want to tell you that I think you are a rock star up there.
Oh, thank you.
Please, Lester, please.
Listen,
And
I'm very humbled and thankful, so thank you for that. That means a lot to me, thank you.
Wide the doors, Doug.
Stop it.
You're not gonna make it in the house.
Stop, but thank you, Lester, I appreciate that, thank you. Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just
Yeah.
humbled to be a part of that organization.
Yeah,
so.
that was a great weekend for me, and I think it was for everyone else as well, education-wise.
Yeah.
So it kind of bring the scope of government kind of
Mhm.
brought it into perspective,
Mhm.
so to have a better understanding of what we're involved in and how to move forward in the future.
Excellent, very good.
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to follow Lester?
I'll jump in there.
Okay.
I hate to, make comments about the recycling. I hate to see it, but I think we're just gonna have to face the reality that something's gotta be done. And unfortunately, it's gonna fall to, people wanna recycle, they're gonna have to do it on their own. We'll give them a place, but you're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this Equity and Inclusion Commission, I can't wait to read it as somebody that grew up in the 50s and the 60s. I come from a little different perspective, us old folks that have seen lots of things that, that I'm just anxious to read this and see and hopefully adopt it and that kind of thing.
We need a PDF first.
You can go on the GMA website.
Okay.
Yeah, just do that, georgiacities.com, and it's all there too.
All right.
Us old folks like to hold on to paper.
Yeah.
Well, I like a combination.
Yes.
We just can't help it.
Yes. All right, MJ, Josh, any comments?
No,
You good?
glad to be here.
We're glad you're here.
Glad you're here.
We missed you. Josh, anything you want to close with?
No, I'm good. I just want to say what Jack said about the whole recycling thing. And I understand that people are using the recycling can as garbage as well, and I get that. I do think having them a location where they can recycle, it was just going to keep honest people honest and eliminate the problem that we have.
Yeah.
So. And other than that, I just want to say congratulations, MJ, and welcome to the party of fatherhood. And,
Thank y'all.
Get ready.
Yeah.
I know,
My
right?
suggestion to you is to take the lead on bottle duty at night.
Yeah.
It'll help you in the long run.
Oh, yeah. It's wide open.
There you go.
Blink and they will be gone.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, I'll close things out. Just want to remind you that we've got some fun things coming up for our community. On February the 25th, we'll have our premier weekend for Gasoline Alley. So if you've not gotten your tickets yet, that Friday night, and then we'll have a matinee on Saturday, and then an evening show on Saturday evening. It is rated R. So don't bring the kids. It's R. It's definitely R. Yeah, so you can go on the Purple Pass website and download your tickets, and we're going to have a great time that night. So excited! Several of the stars are coming in, and some of the people that are now that were involved with the production and everything will come and talk to us before the movie, and then we'll enjoy seeing Tifton on the big screen. And you all got my email about the 3C, the program for the Georgia Municipal Association with the Communities Connection, and so hopefully we'll be able to attend that. And that's it for me. So unless there's anything else to come before the council, then we will stand adjourned. Thank you. Good meeting.
Everyone.